Hello friends, and welcome back to the channel, where today I'm going to walk you through how I did every fight for this month's Paragon Gauntlet objective. Let's start off with this Mantis here that I'll be using Storm for. Now normally when you fight Mantis, you really want to push her to that special 2 because you don't want to get that sleep passive on you from the special 1. However, in this fight, she has Power Focus 1, which makes it much more difficult, and you can't just block bait heavies because she'll periodically get that unblockable buff as well. Now one of the reasons I really like Storm here is that in this fight when you block an attack you get bleeds on you. Whenever Storm gets bleeds, she gains additional prowess, which allows her to really amp up her special damage, as you're going to see here. A couple of other really good options I've listed below. Onslaught is excellent for this fight. Frequent knockdowns are going to be nice here. Toad is probably my favorite Mantis counter in general, just because he has that regen, and that counters the sleep passive. Negasonic also really good here. She can get safe parries off without having her stun shrugged off, and all of her stuff is passive. Really good for this fight as well. And one more special 2, and Mantis is done for. Alright, next up is a Magneto that I struggled with a little bit during my EQ exploration. He's got Prey on the Weak, he's got Bubble Shield, he's got High Energy Diet, a node called Next to Godliness, so whenever you gain a buff, he gains 3 cleanses, and if you knock him down, he converts these cleanses into an unstoppable passive. And then he's got a node called Cross Counter, so whenever he uses a special attack, you need to then use a heavy attack, or else you're going to take a bunch of direct damage here. So in general, you want to use somebody who can avoid buffs and ideally has a very heavy focused playstyle, and Archangel really fits the bill here. Other good options I listed below. Silk, Shava is really good. I put Longshot in a question mark there because I think he could work for this, but I didn't actually test him for it, so your mileage may vary there. Now another great thing about Archangel, of course, is the Neurotoxins shut off a lot of the garbage that comes along with this fight. And he's immune to ability accuracy modification, so even though we're magnetized, none of our abilities are going to fail, and this ends up being a very straightforward fight for him. Alright, next up we have an unduped thing here with Power Shield and Special Connoisseur, so you really want anybody who has access to prowess effects, or the fight is going to be really long here. In addition, anytime you block an attack, you're going to get some bleeds on you, and again, this really helps out a champ like Storm because it increases her access to prowess. So really, just manage his rock stacks, get up to a special attack, and you can probably one-shot him with any decent mutant, as you're going to see here. So we're doing no damage, of course, because of Power Shield, but as soon as we get up to a special 2, it does like, I don't know, 700,000-800,000 damage and completely destroys him. Him being unduped here, very important, of course, because he has no protection. And here we go, 200k and a 500k final hit, and down he goes. Really easy fight for Storm. Alright, next up we have this HULKBUSTER here, who is easily the most annoying fight of the 6. He is immune to armor break, and every 5 seconds he's going to gain a permanent armor up buff. These stack up to infinity. He's got Power Snack, so he's going to be gaining a lot of power, throwing a lot of special attacks, and his special attacks are going to root you in place, so you need to be prepared for them because they are going to be unblockable as well. And every few seconds he's going to gain an unstoppable passive unless you have a Stagger or Fate Seal on him, so you need to be prepared for that. And then his special attack damage is going to be increased for his armor rating, so as the fight progresses, he gets more of those armor up buffs, the more dangerous he's going to get. Now I'm using Archangel here, and I'll be honest with you, Archangel is really not an ideal counter here. It may look like it because, you know, we're only a few seconds in and we're already done like half his health. However, the more armor up buffs that HULKBUSTER gets, the more he reduces your offensive ability accuracy, and I went in here kind of expecting Archangel to work anyways, but at some point he basically just turns off Archangel's ability to bleed and poison him, which is really frustrating. So like, we're doing very little damage here, and we have to rely on crits to get past all of his armor up. And with class disadvantage and challenger rating disadvantage, crits are few and far between here from a 6-star Archangel. So you can do a lot more damage early on in this fight with Archangel if you get some really good RNG. You can melt him pretty quickly, in fact, if you get like a bunch of neuros on him like right away. That'll also turn off his ability to generate those armor ups, so it'll slow down his ability to kind of turn your stuff off. Now that being said, at some point during the fight, all of your stuff is going to wear off, and he is going to be turning off what you're doing, which is really frustrating. So I have some other much better options listed below, and Longshot is by far the best option for this particular fight, but at the time, I didn't think that I could fit him on my team, so if I did this again, I would probably swap Archangel for Longshot and use Longshot for both this fight and that Magneto that we talked about earlier. Beta Ray Bill can also put in some work here, I think. He can pulverize Hulkbuster's armor-ups with his medium attack. Clairvoyant also really good here. You can trigger the buff immunity with your special 2, and because it happens on activation and not on hit, it won't be subject to the ability accuracy reduction from those armor-ups. And once you remove all those armor-ups, you can do a lot more damage like right away. I also used Void during my exploration, and Void works here because his damage is direct damage and isn't subject to the armor rating. So he really kind of is able to do a constant stream of damage regardless of how many armor-ups Hulkbuster has. But again, couldn't really fit Void on my team, and you know I tried, of course. I'm not going to make you sit through the rest of this fight here. Let's go ahead and speed it up, and we'll move on to the next one. So while this kind of finishes up, I do want to point out here just how slow this fight gets if you don't go in with a really good counter, which I would not consider Archangel a really good counter. I did have Storm on the team. Storm can also do this fight less slowly than Archangel, and she'll heal from the shock, so she can finish this at a full yellow bar. But again, you're still kind of chasing crits, and you won't be able to gain any of your prowess because he'll shut off your ability to do so. Yeah, you can see like this in total is like a 5-minute, 5.5-minute fight or so. May not look like it, but it is. It was very long, very tedious. He just gets so many armor ups over the course of the fight that your ability to deal damage with your basic non-crits is virtually non-existent. So you're really just, you know, spending the entire fight just chasing down crit after crit. And I think he is about to go down here. One more striker and then the heavy attack. So yeah, very long, very tedious fight. Bring a good counter if you can for that fight for sure. Alright, next up we have this Maestro. This is a pretty easy fight. If you've ever fought a Maestro anywhere, you can pretty much fight him the way you normally do, and you'll be totally fine. So he has a node that grants you prowess whenever you glance, and you'll be glancing a lot over the course of the fight, which is nice. So anybody who has access to prowess naturally, really going to be good here, and Storm, of course, very, very good for this fight. The reason you want prowess is because he has a node that you might recall from map 8 called Persistent Pressure, and that gives him an unstoppable, and the duration of the unstoppable is decreased for every prowess you have. So you can essentially turn that node off with enough prowess. I think you want like 8 or 9, maybe 10 prowess to shut it off completely. And then just fire off your special attacks. You can see Storm's first special 2 did an absolutely crap ton of damage, and we aren't even really taking much of that cosmic radiation damage. We haven't hit the root phase either, and one more combo into the special 2, and that is going to finish him off. Didn't even need to crit on those 3 hits in order to kill him. Last but not least, we have the newest champ, ISOPHYNE, and in this fight you want to use somebody who can easily control and possibly reverse her power gain. So Luke Cage, really, really strong option. His exhaustions quickly reverse her power gain and just kind of keep it on lockdown. Got the Debilitate up from the heavy, firing off the special 2 to apply a pair of concussions, and I think we only end up having to bait 1 special attack in this fight just because he is so strong. Other good options I have listed below. Void, really, really good for this fight as well. Silk and Photon, very strong options. Or you can kind of go with the Spider-Ham route and just embrace the many specials that she's going to throw and kind of punish her for it. Either way, probably the easiest fight of the 6. Alright folks, that's going to do it for this month's walkthrough. Hope it was helpful for you. Make sure to share it with your friends, share it with your alliance mates, and as always, thank you very much for watching. We'll see you again next time.